And that's where I went to school. And I mentioned, probably a year or two ago, about the most miserable year of my life was my first year at the University of Idaho as a pledge in a fraternity because of all the abuse that was there that I didn't understand or have a relationship to by upperclassmen. So when you go through that experience, you sort of see these certain people as being less than kind, okay? That there's sort of this image that shows up, and you know, that's a piece of my life that I really haven't had to go back and really face. Well, all of a sudden, there I am, back at the school. And so I know that I'm going to have to be over there now frequently. In fact, I'm going over there this week to take Caroline's stuff for her dorm, all of her supplies that she needs for her dorm room. So I'm the shuttle that's taking it over there. And so I was thinking about how, you know, one of the things that I need is a healing around that experience. That to maybe reframe it and to see it from a different perspective. Not so much the experience, but the people that were involved. And I happen to be on this emailing list of some of the brothers that, you know, and I've been getting this information about people who are passing away, you know, how you kind of updates and that sort of thing. So there's this kind of large email list that shows up, and I thought, I need to give myself to this experience or to this reality because this is an area of a piece in my experience that needs to be worked on. And so I sent out an email to the list, and I said, I'm going to be at Moscow this week. Is there anybody that would like to play golf? That was my, you know, because I'm going to have some time between parent orientation stuff, and I thought a good way to fill it is to go out on the golf course. And so, well, wouldn't you know it? But back in the email comes the one guy that I would not have picked to play golf with. He says, yeah, let's play golf, you know. And it's the last guy, I mean, that I would have chosen on that list. And I thought, okay, here it is. This is my opportunity. So, you know, it's interesting what it is that we give. You know, I'm giving, I want, you know, my desire is healing, so I am giving to that in some way. Now, perhaps he needs healing too. You know, and I'm not going to show up at golf and say, well, we're here to heal, and, you know. That's not the, you know, I'm just going to show up and be present and see if I can experience him in a new way. And if I can experience him in a new way, I know that's going to help heal me. And if he can experience me in a new way, there's going to be some sort of underlying experience that will show up in that dynamic. And so there are incredible ways in which we can show up, things that we can give that we need. Because that's really what it's about. If we desire something in our life, then that's the thing that we need to give. And sometimes it's hard to get our arms around that. You know, I remember when Karen and I were first ministers in Reno, and we'd just gotten married, and we had literally nothing. I mean, nothing. He'd used up all my assets going to school, so had she. She had a student loan, you know, literally nothing, and so we could not afford to buy a house, and yet we wanted to buy a house. And so what we did, we decided, well, we'll go rent a house. And so we went out and we rented a house, and we decided that we were going to treat that house as though it was our own. And so we got some people together, and we made drapes for the house and put brand new drapes up. We painted the inside of the house, got permission to do all that stuff. We fixed up the yard and did gardening and just literally put ourselves into the house as though it were our house. Now, we didn't end up with that house, but we gave way more to it than we needed to as renters. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like we invested ourselves into it. And about 6 months later, I was driving down the street, not far from the place, and here was a for sale sign on a house that was a buy owner for sale sign. And so I called the number, and it turned out that the guy that was selling it had a VA loan that was assumable. They had loans that were assumable back then, so they had a VA loan that was assumable, and he wanted like $5,000 and to assume the loan. Well, we didn't even have $5,000. I could scrape together $1,000. And so I said, I can get together $1,000. Would you consider financing the rest over 12 months? And he said, yeah. And so all of a sudden, what showed up in our frame of reference was a house. And for $1,000 down, we were able to move into a house. Well, of course, we moved into that house. We moved to Seattle. That allowed us to move into a different house. And then that house allowed us to move into. So, you know, that's how the process begins to unfold as we enter into it. So it's giving. It's about giving, starting that energy field where we give to that which we can out of the sense of what it is that we want to bring into our life. And it isn't, you know, it isn't that we give a house to get a house. It's we think about, what do I need to give? What do I want? What do I need to give? And we begin to ask that question. You know, in the book of Luke, at the end of chapter 20, Jesus, which he spent a lot of time doing, was answering all these trick questions from the Sadducees and the scribes and the Pharisees. And, you know, they always were trying to come up with ways to make him look stupid or to trick him into blasphemy or some other kind of experience. And every single time, of course, he would not do that. He would wow them. You know, they would be like, whoa. And, you know, basically, he was able to handle that very well and end up impressing the Sadducees. Well, when he would talk to them, and then afterwards, he would generally turn to his disciples, and he would teach them in that moment, because he was trying to help them understand what was going on. And so after this particular event, he turns to his disciples and he says, "Beware of the scribes who like to go out in long robes and love salutations in the marketplaces and the best seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at the feasts, who devour widows' houses and for a pretense make long prayers. They will receive the greater condemnation." In other words, they'll receive the results of the intention or the consciousness out of which these things are practiced. They'll receive that.